What if I told you there is a country so strange, so contradictory, that scientists themselves once refused to believe the reports coming out of it? A place where one coastline is drowned in the oldest, greenest rainforest left on Earth, and a few hours' drive away, the land turns to fire-red sand that stretches to the horizon in every direction. A place where, beneath the waves, there lives a single living structure so vast it can be seen from space, home to more color, more life, more mystery than almost anywhere else on the planet. A place where snow falls quietly on granite peaks, while at that very same moment, on a beach a short flight away, someone is getting sunburned. This is a land where the animals don't just look unusual. They look like they escaped from another version of history, where a mammal lays eggs, where the deadliest creatures don't roar. They hide in silence, in the grass, in the sand, in the water, waiting. And somewhere in the middle of it all, there are people, 60, maybe even 65,000 years of them, who have read this land like a living book long before any map existed. This is the story of the last wild continent. This is Australia. Most countries sit on a continent. Australia is one. It floats alone in the southern hemisphere, wedged between the Indian and Pacific Oceans, isolated from every other landmass on Earth by thousands of kilometers of open water. And that isolation is the secret to everything that makes it strange. For tens of millions of years, while other continents collided, split, and exchanged their plants, animals, and diseases, Australia drifted quietly on its own. Sealed off, like a laboratory, nobody was watching. Evolution took the ingredients it had and ran wild in directions found nowhere else. Officially, the story of the modern nation is much younger. Federation, the joining of 6 separate British colonies into one country, happened only in 1901. Before that, this land had already been home to the oldest continuous human culture on Earth for tens of thousands of years. And before that colonization by British settlers beginning in 1788, a chapter of the story that changed everything for the continent's first peoples. Today, Australia is a nation of striking contradictions. It is one of the most urbanized countries on the planet. The vast majority of its population hugs a thin ribbon of coastline. And yet it is also home to some of the emptiest, most remote wilderness left anywhere on Earth. Step 20 minutes outside almost any Australian city, and the buildings vanish. Step a few hours further, and so does almost everyone else. It's this exact tension, ancient and modern, packed and empty, familiar and utterly alien, that pulls millions of travelers here every single year. Chasing a version of nature and lifestyle that simply doesn't exist anywhere else. So let's actually look at the shape of this place. Because to understand Australia, you first have to understand just how big and how empty it really is. Picture the map. Australia sits entirely within the southern hemisphere, cradled between latitudes that stretch from the tropics down toward the cooler temperate south. It's the sixth largest country on Earth by area, roughly 7.7 million square kilometers. And yet it holds a population of only around 27 million people. To put that in perspective, that's a country the size of the continental United States, holding fewer people than the state of Texas. That single fact explains almost everything about the Australian way of life. Space. An almost unreasonable amount of space. The country is divided into 6 states: New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, Western Australia, South Australia, and Tasmania, along with 2 major territories, the Northern Territory and the Australian Capital Territory. Each has its own personality, almost like separate countries operating under one flag. The capital isn't Sydney, as many assume. It's Canberra, a planned city built specifically to end the rivalry between Sydney and Melbourne over which deserved the honour. The 2 cities couldn't agree, so the government simply built a brand new capital in between them. Australia's largest cities, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth and Adelaide, all sit on the coast, facing outward toward the ocean, almost as if the continent itself were turning its back on its own interior. That interior is the Outback, a vast, dry ochre heart that makes up most of the country's landmass, but only a tiny fraction of its population. Because Australia stretches across such a wide range of latitudes, its climate zones shift dramatically from north to south. The very top of the country, near Darwin, sits in the tropics, with wet and dry seasons instead of 4 true seasons. The middle is dominated by desert and semi-desert. States experience something closer to a Mediterranean or temperate climate, with actual cold winters and, in the highlands, snow. Yes, snow in Australia. It surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it, but the Australian Alps in the southeast receive more reliable snowfall each year than the Swiss Alps. It's one of the country's best-kept secrets. All of this variety inside a single country is what makes traveling across Australia feel less like visiting one destination, and more like visiting 5 or 6 different worlds that happen to share a passport stamp. And nowhere is that variety more obvious than in how dramatically the seasons themselves behave, because in Australia, everything about the calendar is flipped. Here's something that trips up every first-time visitor. In Australia, Christmas falls in summer, because the country sits in the southern hemisphere. Its seasons run in reverse compared to Europe or North America. December, January, and February, the heart of the Northern Hemisphere's winter, are the peak of Australian summer. It's a season of blistering heat in the interior, but along the coasts, it's beach season in its purest form. Sydney Harbour fills with boats. Bondi Beach becomes a sea of towels and sunscreen. And cities host outdoor concerts, cricket matches, and fireworks that stretch late into the warm night. In the tropical north, however, summer means something different entirely. It's the wet season, when monsoon rains, flood rivers, and swell waterfalls to their most dramatic, most powerful state of the year. Then comes autumn, March through May, and this is when Australia quietly reveals one of its most underrated qualities. The heat breaks, the light turns golden. Vineyards across South Australia and Victoria fill with workers during harvest season, and in Tasmania, deciduous trees imported generations ago from Europe blaze with colour, an unexpected pocket of autumn foliage tucked into an otherwise evergreen continent. Winter, June through August, is where the contradictions get almost comedic. In the south and in Tasmania, temperatures drop, fires get lit in fireplaces, and snowfields in the Australian Alps open for ski season, drawing snowboarders and skiers to resorts like Thredbo and Perisher. Meanwhile, in the tropical north, around Darwin and Cairns, winter is the dry season, meaning it's actually the most pleasant, most popular time of year to visit, with clear skies, lower humidity, and none of the monsoon rains. And then spring arrives, September through November, and the whole continent seems to exhale. Wildflowers explode across Western Australia in one of the greatest floral displays on the planet, turning entire stretches of desert into carpets of colour. Whales migrate along the coastlines. Baby animals, kangaroo joeys, koala babies, start appearing everywhere. The lifestyle shifts with every season too. Aussies are famously outdoor people, and depending on the time of year, that means beach cricket in summer, wine trails in autumn, snow trips in winter, and hiking through wildflower season in spring. It's a country built almost entirely around being outside. But seasons alone don't tell the story of a country. To really understand Australia, you have to walk its cities, because each one has developed its own completely different personality. Sydney is usually the first image that comes to mind when people think of Australia, and it earns that reputation the moment you see it. The city was founded in 1788 as a British penal colony established at Sydney Cove after the arrival of the First Fleet. What began as a harsh outpost on the edge of the known world grew over more than 2 centuries into one of the most beautiful and expensive cities on Earth. Its skyline is instantly recognizable. The white sail-like shells of the Sydney Opera House curving against the water. The steel arch of the harbour bridge looming beside it. Ferries crisscrossing a harbour so striking that locals still stop to admire it on their daily commute. Life in Sydney moves with an easy confidence. Mornings start with coffee. Australians take their coffee culture as seriously as Italians do, followed by a walk or a swim, because the city's beaches, Bondi chief among them, are treated less like weekend getaways and more like extensions of everyday life. The climate is warm and sunny for most of the year, occasionally interrupted by dramatic summer storms rolling in off the Pacific. The best time to visit is during the Australian spring or autumn, when the heat softens but the sunshine remains reliable. And here's a fact that surprises many first-time visitors. The Sydney Harbour Bridge, nicknamed the Coat Hanger by locals, allows visitors to climb to its very top for a 360-degree view of the entire city, one of the most popular tourist experiences in the country. From Sydney, the story of Australia's cities heads south, into a place that feels almost like a different country entirely. If Sydney is Australia's showpiece, Melbourne is its soul. Founded in 1835 along the banks of the Yarra River, Melbourne grew explosively during the Victorian gold rush of the 1850s. And that sudden wealth is still visible today in its grand Victorian-era architecture, its elegant arcades, and its wide tree-lined boulevards. Where Sydney is defined by its harbour, Melbourne is defined by its laneways, narrow alleys hidden between buildings, filled with street art, tucked-away cafes, and some of the best coffee culture anywhere in the world. Melburnians are fiercely, almost comically proud of their coffee, and the city's cafe scene has genuinely influenced coffee trends internationally. Melbourne is also the cultural and sporting heart of the country. It hosts the Australian Open, one of tennis's 4 Grand Slams, and the Melbourne Cup, a horse race so significant that the entire nation effectively stops to watch it. Officers hold viewing parties, and it's often treated as an unofficial public holiday. Australian rules. Football, a fast, physical sport unique to this country, was essentially born here, and the passion locals hold for their teams borders on religious. Head north from Melbourne, and the climate and the entire mood begins to shift into something far more tropical. Brisbane doesn't try to compete with Sydney's glamour or Melbourne's culture. Instead, it offers something else entirely. An easy, sun-drenched, subtropical lifestyle that feels like a permanent vacation. The city's riverfront is its centerpiece, particularly South Bank. Home to an artificial urban beach where people swim in the middle of the city, surrounded by skyscrapers. Brisbane serves as the gateway to 2 of Australia's most famous coastal regions. The Gold Coast to the south, known for its surf beaches and theme parks, and the Sunshine Coast to the north, known for its more relaxed, laid-back beach towns. But if Brisbane feels sunny, nothing prepares visitors for the sheer isolation and beauty waiting on the opposite side of the continent. Perth holds a strange, almost poetic distinction. It is widely considered the most isolated major city on Earth. The nearest city of comparable size, Adelaide, sits over 2,000 kilometers away. Perth is, in fact, geographically closer to Singapore than it is to Sydney. Today, Perth enjoys one of the sunniest climates of any Australian capital, with warm, dry summers and mild winters. Its beaches, Cottesloe among the most famous, are known for spectacular sunsets over the Indian Ocean, a rare treat for a country where most major cities face east. From Perth, we swing back east and south toward a city built entirely around orderly planning and refined living. Canberra, the nation's capital, feels utterly different from every other Australian city because it was deliberately designed rather than grown organically. Built in the early 20th century, following an international design competition, the city is organized around an artificial lake, Lake Burley Griffin. and home to the country's major political and cultural institutions, including Parliament House and the Australian War Memorial. It's a quieter, more understated capital, but one packed with museums and history for those who take the time to explore it. Hobart, in Tasmania, feels like stepping back into an earlier, wilder version of Australia. As the country's second oldest city, founded in 1804, its waterfront is lined with sandstone warehouses now turned into galleries and restaurants. It's cooler and greener than mainland cities, surrounded by dramatic mountains and ancient forests, and serves as the gateway to Tasmania's wilderness, including the remarkable Mona, the Museum of Old and New Art, one of the most talked about museums in the Southern Hemisphere. Together, these 8 cities show just how differently Australians live, depending on where they call home. But the cities are only the frame around the picture. The real story of Australia lies in the water, the rivers, the deserts, and the wild spaces between them. Starting with the vast oceans that surround this continent on every side. The Daintree Rainforest in far north Queensland is estimated to be around 180 million years old, making it older than many of the world's mountain ranges, and significantly older than most flowering plants on Earth. Walking through it feels like walking through a living fossil. Ferns and cycads here are descended from plant lineages that existed alongside the dinosaurs. The climate is hot, humid, and wet almost year-round, feeding a canopy so dense that sunlight barely reaches the forest floor in places. This is one of the only places on Earth where rainforest meets reef. The Daintree grows right down to the edge of beaches that lead straight out to the Great Barrier Reef, meaning in a single day, a visitor can walk through an ancient forest and then snorkel over one of the richest coral ecosystems on the planet. The Daintree is home to the cassowary, a flightless bird that looks almost prehistoric, with a helmet-like casque on its head and powerful legs capable of a dangerous kick. One of the animals responsible for dispersing the seeds of dozens of rainforest plant species that depend on it entirely for survival. From this dense green wilderness, the story of Australia now turns to its coastline, because after its wildlife, nothing defines this country in the popular imagination quite like its beaches. Bondi Beach in Sydney might be the most famous stretch of sand in the country. Not necessarily because it's the most beautiful, but because of its energy. Surfers, joggers, ocean pools carved into the rocks, and a coastal walk that has become one of the most popular urban strolls in the world. Whitehaven Beach in the Whitsunday Islands is often ranked among the most beautiful beaches on Earth. Its sand made of such pure silica that it stays cool underfoot, even in tropical heat. And its swirling patterns of white sand and turquoise water create one of the most photographed coastal views in the country. And Lucky Bay, tucked into a remote national park in Western Australia, has become internationally famous for one particular reason: kangaroos that casually lounge on the sand alongside sunbathers, creating some of the most surreal wildlife photographs anywhere in the world. But beaches are only half the story. beneath the waves lining much of this coastline lies something even more extraordinary. Stretching over 2,300 kilometers along Australia's northeast coast, the Great Barrier Reef is the largest living structure on the planet, so vast it's visible from space, built entirely by billions of tiny coral organisms over thousands of years. It formed as coral polyps, small, simple animals, gradually built calcium carbonate skeletons on top of each other, generation after generation, eventually creating a structure large enough to support an entire ecosystem. Over 1,500 species of fish, thousands of species of mollusks, 6 of the world's 7 species of sea turtle, and countless species of shark and ray. Tourism built around the reef supports tens of thousands of jobs and draws millions of visitors each year. Drawn by snorkeling and diving experiences that feel less like sightseeing and more like entering an entirely different world. But the reef also faces very real threats. Rising ocean temperatures have triggered repeated mass coral bleaching events in recent years, when stressed coral expels the colorful algae living inside it and turns ghostly white. Combined with pollution and crown of thorns starfish outbreaks, these pressures have placed the reef under significant strain. In response, Australia has invested heavily in reef protection, marine park zoning, water quality programs, and coral restoration projects, making the Great Barrier Reef not just a natural wonder, but one of the most closely studied and actively protected ecosystems on Earth. From this vibrant underwater world, the story shifts dramatically, because travel just a few hours inland from these tropical coasts, and the landscape transforms into something almost unrecognizable. Despite its reputation for beaches and reefs, roughly 70% of Australia is classified as arid or semi-arid. This is the Outback, a term that captures not just the deserts themselves, but the entire remote, sparsely populated interior of the continent. The Great Victoria Desert, the largest in the country, stretches across both Western Australia and South Australia, a landscape of red sand dunes and scattered desert vegetation. The Simpson Desert, further east, is famous for its parallel sand dunes, some running for hundreds of kilometers in near-perfectly straight lines. The Great Sandy Desert, in the northwest, blends into the Tanami Desert further inland, both defined by extreme heat, minimal rainfall, and a stark, almost lunar beauty. Despite their harshness, these deserts are far from lifeless. Reptiles, insects, and remarkably resilient plant species have adapted to survive extreme temperature swings and rare, unpredictable rainfall. And for tens of thousands of years, Aboriginal peoples have not just survived in this landscape, but thrived in it, developing intricate knowledge of water sources, seasonal food supplies, and safe travel routes passed down across countless generations. It's precisely this unforgiving, ancient interior that has produced some of the most unusual animals found anywhere on the planet. Creatures so strange that early European naturalists initially assumed reports of them were simply hoaxes. The kangaroo might be the most iconic Australian animal of all, a marsupial capable of covering more than 9 meters in a single bound, using its powerful tail almost like a fifth limb for balance and propulsion. The koala, often mistaken for a bear, is in fact a marsupial too, spending up to 20 hours a day sleeping, largely because its diet of eucalyptus leaves is so low in nutrients and mildly toxic that conserving energy becomes essential for survival. The platypus might be the strangest animal on the entire continent. A mammal that lays eggs, has a duck-like bill, webbed feet, and males that carry venomous spurs on their hind legs, a combination so bizarre that when specimens were first sent to European scientists, many assumed it was an elaborate taxidermy hoax. The wombat, a stocky, burrowing marsupial, is famous for producing cube-shaped droppings. A genuine biological adaptation that prevents its waste from rolling away and helps it mark territory more effectively. The Tasmanian devil, now found only in the wild on the island of Tasmania, is the largest carnivorous marsupial left on Earth. Known for its surprisingly powerful bite and its unsettling screeching calls. The emu, Australia's largest bird, cannot fly but can run at speeds exceeding 50 kilometers per hour, and uniquely, it's the male emu that incubates the eggs and raises the chicks alone. The cassowary, found in the northern rainforests, is often called the world's most dangerous bird, capable of delivering a serious injury with a single kick from its dagger-like claws. Then come the animals that built Australia's fearsome reputation: the saltwater crocodile, the largest living reptile on Earth, an ambush predator capable of explosive bursts of speed from apparent stillness. The great white shark, patrolling much of the southern coastline, and the country's notorious population of venomous snakes and spiders, including species capable of delivering medically significant bites, though fatalities are, thanks to modern anti-venom, now extremely rare. Along the coastlines, whales migrate every year between Antarctic feeding grounds and warmer breeding waters, delighting whale watchers in towns like Hervey Bay and Albany. And in the far south, penguins, including the world's smallest species, the little penguin, waddle ashore each evening on islands near Melbourne, drawing crowds who come simply to watch them return home from the sea. All of this extraordinary biodiversity exists alongside a modern developed economy, and that combination of ancient wilderness and contemporary prosperity is, in many ways, the defining balancing act of modern Australia. Given Australia's sheer size, domestic flights serve as the backbone of long-distance travel, connecting cities that would otherwise require days of driving. For travelers wanting to explore the more remote parts of the country, driving remains essential, particularly across the Outback, where distances between towns can stretch for hundreds of kilometers, and where preparation, extra fuel, water, and mobile communication devices isn't just recommended, but often necessary for safety. And after a long day of travel, there's one thing that unites every Australian, regardless of which city or region they call home: the food. Australian cuisine has evolved into a genuinely unique blend, shaped by British colonial roots, waves of immigration, and unmatched access to fresh local produce. Seafood plays a starring role, thanks to thousands of kilometers of coastline. Fresh barramundi, rock lobster, and oysters feature heavily on menus nationwide. The barbecue, meanwhile, is something close to a national institution, with Australians famously grilling outdoors year-round, not just in summer. Meat pies remain a beloved humble classic, sold everywhere from gas stations to gourmet bakeries. The lamington, a square of sponge cake coated in chocolate and desiccated coconut, is a proud national dessert. And then there's Vegemite, the dark, salty yeast spread that divides visitors instantly. Australians grow up loving it, spread thinly on buttered toast, while first-time tasters from overseas often find it a genuinely challenging introduction. But food, cities, and economy only tell part of the Australian story. To really understand this continent, you have to go back, much further back, to the people who have called it home the longest. Aboriginal Australians represent the oldest continuous culture in human history, with evidence of habitation stretching back at least 65,000 years, and some estimates suggesting even longer. This deep well of history and identity sits alongside a country that also knows exactly how to celebrate. And Australians take their festivals seriously. Christmas in Australia comes with a twist that never stops surprising outsiders. It falls in the middle of summer, meaning traditional imagery of snow gets swapped for beach barbecues and backyard cricket matches. New Year's Eve turns Sydney Harbour into one of the very first major fireworks displays on Earth to welcome each new year, broadcast to a global audience and drawing over 1 million spectators to the harbour foreshore in person. Australia is home to more venomous snake species than any other country on Earth, yet fatal snake bites remain extremely rare thanks to effective anti-venom programs. The country is wider than the moon, measuring roughly 4,000 kilometers from east to west. Australia has over 10,000 beaches, enough that if you visited a different one every single day, it would take you more than 27 years to see them all. Canberra was built specifically because Sydney and Melbourne couldn't agree on which city should be the capital. There are more kangaroos in Australia than there are people. The Great Barrier Reef is the only living structure on Earth visible from space. Wombat droppings are naturally cube-shaped. Australia is the only continent without an active volcano. Tasmania has some of the cleanest air quality readings anywhere on the planet. Melbourne's tram network is the largest in the world. Australia was, at one point, home to a fence longer than the Great Wall of China, the dingo fence, built to keep dingoes away from livestock, stretches for over 5,000 kilometers. The koala's fingerprints are so similar to human fingerprints that they have, in rare cases, complicated crime scene investigations. Australia's Simpson Desert contains some of the longest parallel sand dunes on Earth. Lake Hillier, a real lake in Western Australia, is permanently bright bubblegum pink. Sydney's Harbour Bridge is nicknamed the Coat Hanger because of its distinctive arched shape. The platypus is one of only 5 mammal species on Earth that lays eggs. Australia's Uluru changes colour dramatically throughout the day, appearing to glow deep red at sunrise and sunset. More than 80% of Australia's plant and animal species exist nowhere else on Earth. The Sydney Opera House took over 14 years to build, nearly a decade longer than originally planned. Budget-wise, Australia sits on the higher end for international travellers, particularly in major cities like Sydney and Melbourne. though costs ease considerably in regional areas and smaller towns. The best months to visit depend entirely on which region you're chasing. Spring and autumn tend to offer the most comfortable weather nationwide, while the dry season, from May through October, is ideal for exploring the tropical north. We began this journey with a question. What if there was a country where deserts and rainforests, snow-capped peaks and coral reefs, ancient culture and modern cities all existed within the same set of borders? Now you've seen the answer for yourself. You've walked the laneways of Melbourne and the harbour foreshore of Sydney. You've felt the humidity of the world's oldest rainforest and the dry, cracking heat of a desert that stretches beyond the horizon. You've met a mammal that lays eggs, a bird that can't fly but can outrun almost anything on two legs, and a reef so vast it can be seen from space. You've stood, if only through a screen, in the shadow of a sacred red monolith that has watched over this land for longer than human memory can measure. Australia isn't simply a country you visit. It's a continent you slowly discover, layer by layer, season by season, always finding one more contradiction hiding behind the last. If there is one country where deserts meet rainforests, coral reefs meet snowy mountains, and modern cities exist beside some of Earth's oldest landscapes, that country is Australia.